I'm Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and Ink Nouveau, and I have had a number of people that I've heard about that have either intentionally or accidentally removed the feed out of their Lamy pens. And that's not so much an issue, but it's more when you try to get it back into the pen that it can be a problem. Lamy pens have kind of a triangular grip. Most of their pens, with the exception of a couple, they have a triangular grip. And the feed is meant to fit into the pen a very certain way. And if you put it in wrong, you can jam the thing in there and it makes it almost impossible to get out without completely mangling and destroying the feed, rendering it useless from then on out. So I'm going to show you in this video how to properly align the feed to get it back into your pen should you ever need to do that. This is a technique that you're going to use for all of the Lamy pens with the exception of the Lamy 2000. That pen is a piston filler pen. It has a whole different feed setup. But this one, the Lamy Vista, I'm using it for demonstration purposes. It's a demonstrator pen. The only part that I'm going to focus on here is the front section, the grip section. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can get some good detail. Oh, too much. Okay, that'll work. Now, most of the Lamy pens have some sort of triangular grip to them. The ones that don't, like the Studio, the Accents, the CP1, those are a little bit tougher. I'll show you how to deal with those, but basically what we're talking about here is if your feed is outside of your pen, and I'm going to try to remove mine. I found that it's easiest on the Vistas for the feed to come out. There we go. But other pens, it happens too. Usually the feed is really, really tough to get out. So I don't recommend you intentionally try to remove it unless you feel very comfortable doing so. It takes a lot of force usually. But anyway, so here's the grip section without the feed in it. Now it's still got the triangular portion that I kind of hold with my thumb and my pointer. And that's how the pen is meant to be held. And Lamy designs the feed so that it is held pretty positively in that way. It has a couple of stops down here in the bottom that kind of create a channel that you need to fit this bottom section of the feed into. Okay, so there's that raised portion on the bottom of the feed. You can see it sticking out right there. That has to fit in between that channel in order for it to fit into the pen. If you have it in the wrong way, like say I'm going to turn it the wrong way, it's going to give me some resistance. Now it's not going to stop me altogether, but it will require some force to press it in here. And this is where people always get in trouble. If you have it oriented in the wrong manner and you just press this thing in there, you're essentially jamming this thing in place, and it's going to be nearly impossible to pull it back out without doing some kind of damage to the feed. Because when you jam it in there, it's a lot easier to push it in than it is to pull it back out. So if you have it in here and you're finding some resistance, you want to stop immediately and back out and pull it out. If you have it in the right way, it really should just kind of glide right in there. Okay? And the way that you can find that it's the right way on the pens that have a grip is to just kind of grip the pen like you would naturally hold it and then align it so that the feed is in between your thumb and your pointer. And that should give you the right guidance. If you have it a little bit off, it's going to give you some resistance. Just kind of rotate it and kind of push it in a little bit until it naturally just kind of drops. And it will be almost no pressure at all in order to do that. Now once you kind of get it in place, it's going to give you some resistance right about here, okay? And that's okay because that's going where it kind of wants to click into place. So then you just kind of press it a little bit. I wouldn't push on the end of the nib. I would make sure that you're either gently grabbing the sides, or if you want, grab the back of the feed and the base of the nib, and then just kind of gently push it in place, and you'll kind of feel a click once it kind of gets in there, just like that. And you should see just a tiny bit of the black feed sticking out of the end of the grip, and then your nib right there, and that is nice and in place. Now if you have another pen, like a Lamy pen that does not have a triangular grip, it's a little bit trickier, but the design inside the pen is exactly the same. What you'll need to do for those, which is like the CP1, the Logo, the Accents, the Studio, you'll have to stare down into the grip of the pen and find those that channel in the bottom, and then you'll have to take the bottom of your feed and kind of align it with that channel. Okay, and once you do that, it should be pretty smooth flowing. You know, again, if you have it in the wrong orientation, just kind of gently, you know, tap it and rotate as you go, and then once you find the right place, it'll pretty much drop right in there, and then you'll push it down just like the others, and you're good to go. So I can't stress enough again, where everybody gets in trouble is when it's in the wrong orientation and they push too hard. If you do that, you're going to be in serious trouble, because Lamy doesn't sell these feeds separate from their pen. So you really want to make sure that you don't you know, do anything that can't be undone. But hopefully this video should help you out to be able to put your feed back on your pen should this happen to you in the future. If you have any questions about this technique or anything else, just hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or my blog. Thanks so much for watching this today, and right on.